Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, folks. I think today's meeting is we will go through one HLD contributed by Inspire. I see Justin in this meeting. So Justin, do you know who will present?
Yeah, we are ready. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So before we jump into the HLD review, I just want to provide a quick update for the two release, the 2023-05 and the 2023-11. So for 2023-05, I sent out a mail, I think last week, to give a quick update. The message is, we further delayed the final cutoff to middle June. So during this period, we expect the feature owners, who already started the code PR and focus on the PR review and collaborate with the reviewer maintainers to merge your PRs. So after the final cutoff, there will be no cherry pick for the feature, since only bug fix. That is one update for the 2023-05. Next update is for the 2023-11, which is the next release targeted to ship this November. So I just updated the project with all the features that I know, so you guys can take a look if you want. This I think tomorrow should be the official kickoff date. But tomorrow we do not have a community meeting. I just want to take these opportunities to kick off the 2023-11 release. So please think about which features do you want to contribute in the next release, and let me know what is your plan. So that's the two major updates from my side. Any question? Okay, if no, I will hand over this. So Justin, please go ahead. You can share your screen.
Okay, thanks. Okay, let me share my screen first. Could you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can see.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for attending this meeting. I'm Justin from Inspire, and I'm excited to introduce the COI wrapper feature to you today. This feature is designed to enhance the performance of SONiC COI and reduce the response time while executing commands, making user experience better. To help you get started, we have already uploaded the relevant document to the community GitHub. And if you have any questions during the meeting, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. So we are glad to answer all your questions. Now let's dive into the high-level design of COI wrapper. But before we do that, I would like to explain why this feature is essential for SONiC COI. Okay, so SONiC COI engine is implemented by the Click package, which offers developers a convenient way to establish the entire COI architecture. However, it also has some disadvantage, particularly in terms of the performance. The issue we are looking to address here is the slow execution time of COI in some cases. For instance, when the user executes a series of commands, the COI engine will load the main source file, like config main.py multiple times. It wastes lots of loading time. Additionally, all libraries have to be imported again during this process, which can take up to 80% of the execution time. As a result, we have designed the COI wrapper to reduce the response time and enhance the performance. So here is the architecture of COI wrapper, and I would like to show you how COI wrapper works from this picture. Okay, first of all, to integrate COI wrapper with current COI architecture, we develop a COI wrapper builder to generate a wrapped file for your command source file. like main.py. It replaces function body with CLI wrapper client to send an encoded command to CLI wrapper server and acquires the result. So this wrapped main.py only contains the function interface and the minimal libraries. So for the original main.py, it will be renamed to main.impl.py to avoid name conflict. And the CLI wrapper server would load main.impl.py only when it starts and only loads once. All this process would happen in compile stage when SONiC utility Debians is packaged. Okay, so here is the main architecture of CLI wrapper. As you can see, it is a client-server architecture. When the user input a command, the click engine imports this wrapped main file and invokes the CLI wrapper client to transmit the command to the CLI wrapper server. The encode block is used to convert the command and its options into a string format, making it easier for transmission. Okay, now let's look at the right side of this picture. For CLI wrapper server, it is responsible for executing the click command. The server is initiated when the system boots up. It loads all the required libraries to the server once and set up a socket to listen to client requests. When a request is received, the server spawns a CLI worker process to handle the request. Then CLI worker decode the client request and call CLI runner to execute the commands. CLI runner is a wrap function which invokes the callback function of click command. Finally, it returns the result and the data message and finish the process. Okay. Every time CLI wrapper server receives a request, it spawns a process to handle this request. So I think no single block point may happen in this design. That means even one process is one command takes lots of time to execute. The CLI wrapper server will not be blocked. Okay. So now we got another problem. What if the CLI worker is stuck and never come back? Okay, so to prevent the resource leakage due to command blocking in the CLI worker, a watchdog thread has been implemented in CLI wrapper server to monitor the execution time. If the CLI worker exceeds the maximum execution time, it will be gracefully shut down, terminated. However, if the CLI worker remains active after graceful termination, a killed signal will be sent 1 minute later to ensure complete shutdown. So the local database stores the PID of the spawned CLI worker and the timestamp for later usage. Okay. So this is the architecture of CLI wrapper. By setting up the server to load all necessary libraries at boot time, we eliminated the need for repeatedly imports during command execution, which reduce response time. So let's take a break. Does anyone have any question for this architecture?
Yeah. So how is the output of the CLI displayed back? I see the arrows are from one direction, from the CLI engine to a wrapper to the worker thread and then to the DB. But there will be outputs for the CLI commands. And is this also the logic for both config as well as the show commands?
Yes. Let me check. Yeah, I think yeah, the CLI wrapper builder is suitable for configure and show command. Like both.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So how is the output shown in the to the CLI? Let's assume there is some error message needs to display or some show command output, right? How is the reverse direction? I don't see it in the diagram, right? It only shows the direction from the CLI wrapper to the server to the DB.
Oh, you mean the response, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think that should be a two side direction. So after we execute the command, the response, the data message and the return code will be sent to CLI client once we complete that. So okay, I will modify the diagram. Yeah.
Okay. Second thing is one thing is we are introducing a new kind of a new processor daemon. When we introduce something new, we have to ensure it doesn't affect the existing warm boot and fast boot. So I would like to know what is the improvement that we are getting with this, and whether this will affect the existing warm boot and fast boot mechanisms.
Yeah, I think it will not affect when we put our code, when we put process, because that's individual process, and it's not involved in this process, in the
No.
workbook process.
When you introduce a new process, the system initialization will take an extra time. So that will offset the time required for warm boot or fast boot initialization to complete. Any process you introduce, that's the drawback we have. So either what we have to do is we have to delay the starting of this process until warm boot or fast boot is done. We need to make sure that we have that in place. Or we have to, based on their timings, we have to ensure this is not affecting. I would say you would delay this process in case of warm boot or fast boot until the warm boot or fast boot is complete.
Do you mean that we have to delay delay this process until warm boot or until warm
Fast
boot
boot.
complete or fast
Yes.
reboot complete?
Yes.
But do we notice that we are using some of the CLI during the fast warm boot?
Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah,
like
that's something also we need to check. Yeah, that's correct. Maybe we have to investigate that.
Yeah, maybe we should put comments on. But how much improvement is this?
Yeah.
What is the performance gain here?
Oh, you mean how much we can approve for by this
for the
architecture?
response time, right? So
yeah, we prepare some experimental data in the next chapter. Would you see that now?
yeah.
Yeah.
I will. Okay. Let's jump to the next chapter. So here's some test result we made in ARM-based ARM platform with a dual core A53 processor, which is not a high performance processor. And we executing show VLAN brief command 20 times. Then here is the testing result with and without CI wrapper. And we can see that the result shows that the response time dramatically reduced. Okay, and so we also do some time consumption chart to compare those two results. And the blue bar is the time to load minimal package, and the orange bar is the time to load global package. So we can see that the reduced time mostly comes from the orange bar, which I think that makes sense because when we use CR wrapper, the CR wrapper client doesn't have to load those global package, so it's reduced the response time. Okay. So
And yeah, this looks great. And we would also like to know, in case if there is some problem with the CLI wrapper, is there any fallback mechanism? Like example, if the the server process crashes due to some reason, is there any way we could get the show or config command, or are they completely blocked?
oh, you mean if the client CR wrapper server crashes?
Mm-hmm.
Or okay, yeah, of course they cannot complete their job, because that's those CI worker they spawned from the CI server, wrapper server. So once the CI server crashed, or it's tried the process, all those CI worker cannot finish their job. Okay.
So today we have some important commands like show version, show platform, etc. We need to execute it even when the system has crashed. So this may be a problem, right? Those read directly from the EEPROM today. We need to make sure somehow we have some kind of a fallback mechanism in order to debug the system if it is in the problem state.
Oh, sorry, I don't quite follow you. Could you speak?
No.
Could you repeat
So let's assume the system goes into
oh.
some problem state. It becomes
Okay.
problematic. We will not be able to debug anything or take any useful information out of the show commands. So at least today, what we have is some commands will work like show versions, show platform. Those read directly from the EEPROM. So
So
we
you
would
mean
like to know if there is some backup mechanism that's possible.
So are you saying that if the system go to maybe some trouble state and we still need to execute those basic command without CR wrapper, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can design some fallback mechanism in this case to guarantee that we can use those commands. Okay, no problem. We can take a note. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
So I remember what if the command fails, right? So I remember the CLI need to return some return error return code. So does it also propagate those return codes to the CLI wrapper?
Yeah, I think the wrapper CR wrapper server will contains those return code and the return includes those return message to the COI client. Yes, we contains those design. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So CR wrapper will.
And I remember some commands also is interactive, right? So for example, like SONiC installer, it will ask you to yes or no, those kind of questions, and you need to answer that. Is that also somehow implemented?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for those interactive command, the CR wrapper cannot support those commands. But after all, we don't have to support all commands in this architecture. We can pick some main file, some Python file to support. We don't have to support all commands. So those interactive commands should be exclusive from this wrapper. Yeah. We can support that. Does that answer your question?
Oh, how do you know which command interact which not, and how do you exclude?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to specify those commands in advance. Yeah, if you, for example, the pin command or SSH command, we know that it's an interactive command, so we should specify those special case in wrapper or put those interactive command in one Python file. Then we don't build wrapper for this file.
Okay. So do you have a mode where you can, still keep the existing, mode? For example, if somebody thinks that, they want better performance, somebody thinks that, the current performance is okay. Do you have a mode to enable at least, to keep the current mode?
Yeah, I got
maybe because people need to experiment. Maybe this new mode have other unforeseen issues. So
yes. Yeah. So yeah, we consider that. So we provide a service to enable and disable CLI wrapper. So this service, CLI wrapper service, is used to control it. Okay. First, in the compile stage, CLI wrapper builder puts the generated wrap files and the original main files to a backup folder. Okay. And when we want to enable CLI wrapper, we just need to enable CLI wrapper service. Okay. And conversely, if we don't want to enable the CLI wrapper service, maybe he thought that the performance is okay, then he can disable that. Then when we disable this service, we the original, which one? This one. The original main file will be repressed by put to its original location. So it can go back to like what you say, a normal mode without CLI wrapper. Okay. So that's that okay? Is that okay?
okay, no, I get. Okay, this is at runtime, right? So you can understand.
Yes, it's a runtime action. You can turn on a running machine.
Sorry, I have one question. You mean I can turn it on, turn it off for each single command line? Is that correct?
Turn on.
No, I think either this mode or the other mode, right? So you cannot.
Oh no, I don't think it's a no. It should be a global mode service. Okay, maybe we can. But I think that would be too detailed. I mean, if you want to enable CLI wrapper service for each command, maybe we need a giant table to specify this. And when we start CLI wrapper service, the builder can know which command should be generated and which command should not. Okay, that's might be a solution, but currently our design is a global switch. Okay, you can choose to turn on or not to turn on. Yeah, or turn off. Yeah.
Why we cannot support the interactive mode? I thought you have a kind of RPC between the client and server, and should be able to communicate, right? So via that channel.
I don't think so, because as you can see that, well, after the client send the command to server, we from the perspective of the client side, he already lost the connection, the control of this command. In fact, the server is like a proxy for CLI for the client. So server is the one who actually execute the command. So I don't think it's possible to support interactive command in this case.
Well, then the test scripts are not able to use this mode, right? Or any production script cannot use this kind of use this mode. This is only improvement for human, which is not a frequent user, I would suppose, of CLI. In my opinion, the frequent users are test scripts or production scripts. They all request interactive mode to work properly.
No, Ying, I think I don't know what do you mean by interactive mode. What I mean is that, you know, there were some command like SONiC store, they will ask you yes or no. That's interactive mode.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that too, right? So that is part, and because we, so see, if you SH to a device and issue a command, the processor will return as soon as we the encoded command was sent to the server, CLI server. So there's no chance for the caller to get output.
I think I understand what Han say. If you just want to block the command, I mean provide a yes or no command in client side, I think that's possible. For example, if you want to pop a message to notice the user that are you sure you want to reboot, yes or no? Yes, but I think that we can support that because in this case, the control is still on the client side, so we can do that. But once it send the command to the server side, then we lost the control, so we cannot interactive anymore. Okay.
Okay, so two observations. One is that you need to have a client side special update to support the interactive prompting interaction, right? So that's one thing. So that's not a straightforward wrapping. It requires some code updates, and that update is irreversible. And how do you support the traditional mode if you update the client side code? After you're updating the client side code, how do we support going back and forth between traditional mode and the wrapper mode?
Go back and going back. So I don't really quite follow you because do you mean that we need a sorry, could you repeat the question again, please?
Yeah, so before we brought up this interaction the question, right? So everything you do on the client side is just simply encoding the command and send to the server. Right, that makes it really easy to going back and forth between traditional mode and this wrapper mode, because you just need to remove the client side interaction and just go directly to the server, and then you got the traditional mode all the way back. But now if you have to move some of the code from the traditional code to this wrapper side, like the interaction prompting interaction, then how do you go back and forth between old mode and wrapper mode?
Oh, I got your point. Okay. Because we only remove the function body, but the prompt function is embedded in the interface. You know, I don't have source code. If you the prompt function is put in the interface, okay? the location is in the interface. So no matter you are in wrapped mode or traditional mode, the prompt function will still be there in the interface. Okay, so we can still support prompt function in wrapped mode. Does that answer your question?
So if we disable the wrapper mode, will those prompts still work?
Yes, because the prompt function is in the interface, not in the function body.
Okay, I see.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then the second part of that is second part. Okay, this is first part, right? So the second part I brought up is that for a test scripter, when it calls the command, it needs to get the output. Right, so consider any of the SONiC management report tests, they need to issue some commands and get output of the command. But if the connection ends at after the command has been sent to the server, then how would the caller get the output? Because the output is coming out from a different process, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Let's see the picture. So, what situation do you mean? Do you mean when the client send command to server and the connection broken?
Yeah.
This one or this one?
The first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I don't see he's saying the connection is broken. He's saying, how do the client get the return results?
The
I saw
response for
the-
the command executed, right? What is
Yeah,
how are you getting the response back? We are not seeing that the reverse direction arrow here. It sends client to the server, but not server to the client, right? For the
So
response.
there are two parts, right? So one, how does the caller get the return code, which could be successful or unsuccessful? And second, how could the caller get the output? For instance, show interface output, show interface status. How would the caller get the status?
No, isn't this discussed just a while ago? Like it's a double-headed arrow, and that needs to be changed. This diagram.
Yeah, I think it's a double-headed arrow. So I will modify that later. I think that there's some attendees say that before. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I've not I've joined a little late. I don't know. How are we tagging with some number so that when you get the response back, you know for which request you are getting the response back, or how are you doing it? Or is it a blocking call between client and server? So client waits until you get the response back from the server.
Yeah, it's a block. After it sends the request to server, the client side will block until he gets the response.
So what if there are more than one client, issuing the click command? Would there be two sessions hanging on that, and then one server serving both the requests, or how is that going to be done?
Are you saying that if there is more than one client?
Yeah.
I think in the original COI architecture, it will use two process to handle these commands. That would be two clients in this case.
Okay.
Maybe you can imagine that there is another block and send request to the server.
The server is capable of handling both the requests from the two clients. I mean, can process.
Can process, capable handle both. Yeah, sure. Then it's a yeah, of course they have to wait in a queue and handle one by one. Yeah. But it will not block a lot, as I say that after server receive a request, it will spawn CI worker process to handle this individually. So it won't block a lot.
Okay. I mean, the Gugan questions, right? To go back to Gugan question, the interactive thing, right? I mean, if you are on a blocking call, I mean, why can't you get the response back from server, and then if you're all okay, you can proceed to the whatever the action you need, right, for that particular command. What was the thing that you said it's not possible? Why do you think it's not possible? I thought it's an asynchronous call, so you lost the context and do it. But now that you're saying blocking call, interactive mode still not possible, you think, or what is your thought process on that?
Yeah, because we think the SSH command, or ping command that we, because the command executor is here, CI worker, not the client. So we don't know how when okay, for example, the ping command is to email last maybe 10 minutes, and the client side it doesn't know when it will end. So so it's really hard to support interactive command in this case. Okay.
Okay.
So any question for this?
So you have multiple level of connections. So I mean, if you, let's say you have a SONiC image upgrade or whatever, right? So you send the command and it basically gets you the yes or no or whatever, whether you want to go ahead or whatever, right? And then you hang in for some time and then you do it, right? I mean, that would, I'm not sure you attempted for any of those interactive commands with this wrapper service. I just wanted to know what are all your observations for the wrapper command with respect to interactive click commands. Did you attempt for any of that this thing or no? Yeah,
I think it's probably currently their client is SONiC, right? So the client is just passing all the command, doesn't understand any context. So therefore, the server, for example, the server reads the prompt. The client doesn't really know that the server, is asking for a prompt. I guess their current architecture is like that. So therefore, it's not something they cannot do it fundamentally. It's something that they currently don't do it. Right. So, but I think also it's, what if the server side have some exception raised? So are you also going to get those exceptions back to the client so the user can see it? Because I sometimes remember, if we have some bugs in the CLI, if we run into some issues, we'll get the exceptions. We'll know, okay, where the stack went wrong, right? So, but in this case, are you able to catch those exceptions and send back to the client? Or where those exceptions goes?
Oh, yeah. In this case, the CLI runner, okay, will, for example, if there is some bug in your CLI, then the CLI runner may have some exception, right? So in this case, CLI worker can get the exception and return to CLI wrapper server. So yeah, we can get the exception in this case if the issue is on the CLI runner. I mean the code of your CLI. But if the issue happens in the CLI wrapper server, I mean the server code has some problem, then it might crash on runtime. And in this case, then the CLI wrapper client cannot get its return code until it's timeout. Yeah. So there are two situations. Yeah.
So will you be restarting the CLI wrapper server when it crashes?
Yeah, you can restart CLI wrapper service server by restart the CLI wrapper service.
I think it needs to be part of the service itself. Auto restart should be enabled.
Pardon? Sorry.
No, you need to enable as part of the service file itself to have the auto restart enabled.
Oh, you mean when it's crashed, we auto restart the CRE server?
Mhm.
Okay, I think we can put this into the design. And you mean once the server crashed, it can be recovered automatically, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay,
I think also there are some comments like show logins and those comments really call some Unix command to do the paginations. I don't know how you handle those cases.
page.
Show logins will have a lot of the file is long, potentially have paginations.
What do you mean about pagination? Pagination?
Pagination means that the file too large. You need to type more and more. Type space or whatever return to get more results.
Okay, so you mean I have a lot of return message need to show, right? For example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try this case. And the return code, the return message will be fragment and put to client code. How to say? Okay, we there is a buffer on the client side. Okay, so if the return message is over this buffer, it will be split to several parts and received several times until it's receive all messages, even if it's a large message, a bigger message, return message. Does that answer your question? Yeah, because in some cases we, for example, the show running configuration is very big, the return message is very huge. So, but it's over our client side buffer, but it can still receive complete message by receiving several times until it's get all information.
So you will wait until you get all the output from the server, and then you'll start displaying one by one on the screen, page by page. I don't know what page by 80 lines per page you'd return, and then print a more banner or something, and then if the user triggers anything, then we'll go to the next page. Is that what it is?
Yeah, currently we wait until all pages are received, then we display the result once.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is no interactive stuff, right? For example, even like a ping command which can run forever. If you have to cancel the command in between, is that possible, or like such kind of commands are not supported at all?
Yeah, for ping command, it's to me, ping command is an interactive command, so we are not support. We don't support this command in CR wrapper. So I think I'm not quite get your point. Could you repeat your question again?
No, a ping command, like, it is a follow-up question for whatever you said for the earlier question. Like if there is if there is an output which is running more than the allowed output on the screen, and then we have it is split into multiple pages, there is an interactive mode. So which you said it is not possible. So then how about a command like ping, where the output can run forever, and then unless user cancels it, it'll just keep running, right? So those kind of commands, would you be able to support or no?
We cannot support those commands because we don't know when the command will be finished. So the client side would wait until it's timeout. We set a timeout in client side until server doesn't respond or something happened. So if the ping command runs forever, then it will end up with expiration, right? So we cannot support that.
So do you have a section to discuss all these cases? I think the challenge of this, I mean, the idea is simple, but there seems different cases where you couldn't handle nicely, right? Do you have some section to discuss all these cases and how to not include those cases? Sir, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, we didn't prepare. I don't prepare that this time, but I can add a section to explain those exception case for CI wrapper, include what you say the interactive mode or other cases. Yeah, we discussed in this meeting. Yeah.
I have a very basic question. So we know nothing comes from free, right? So yeah, you gain the performance here. What's the penalty in terms of, let's say, memory hogging? Now you actually have to load all this. Have you measured that? Like how much extra memory now we have to keep and cannot get rid of?
I think the first part is that we use a client server architecture, right? So we have extra cost to encode and decode this command, and we need to maintain this socket to transmit the request and the response. So that's what traditional mode don't have to pay. So if you don't have lots of global package, I mean this bar. If you don't have lots of global package in your Python code, then the reduce will be very small. But you have to pay extra effort to encode and decode your request and send to server, right? So in some extreme case, the wrapper case will cost more time than without wrapper case. Okay.
No. Like let's say there's you mentioned that you will basically only do this import once, right? So that means you keep it in is it in the memory?
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, once the CI wrapper server boots up, it will load all necessary Python library and keep it in memory. Yes,
Right.
that's
So
what we need to pay.
yeah, do you know how much is that? Yeah, like in terms of megabytes, or it's just a few kilobytes?
No, well, I think we can check the detailed data and put on the pull append the data in the experimental chapter after the meeting. No problem.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
So there is a other feature called GCU, which is using the YANG to validate the CLI. So have you tested enabling the GCU?
GCU, I'm not sure.
GCU is
what-
the general
Oh.
config updater. It's a
Yeah.
2020 205 feature.
2205. I think we should investigate this feature later. We didn't know.
Yeah,
this
even in
into-
that, right? So if
Oh.
you see that feature, for every command, it takes the YANG and then validates, loads the entire YANG tree, and then that's the validation. So the drawback of that feature is every CLI would take a lot of time, like for at least I think 4x or 5x time to validate, and that's why it's not enabled by default. But if this mechanism, if you can load the YANG only once and then use it to validate and improvise that, that would be great. So I would recommend you also investigate enabling GCU and how to optimize it.
Oh, okay, no problem. So okay, I will check that. Thanks.
Sure.
But Susan, what you're saying is that is part of CLI worker, right? So today it's
Yes.
going to be every command, it's spawning the new process and doing that. So somehow, unless you have the one standalone process for that one, it may not be possible. I don't know. Yeah, you can explore and see.
I see. I just want to explore if we can do that here, right?
Right.
Not sure if it is achievable with this design of spawning the CLI worker, but if we can have something incorporated into this and say optimize that, it would be better going forward with the YANG based validation rather than the current one. And that's what I think we are also looking towards.
Yeah. No, I think I agree, right? So but I feel like it seems like we are going to move to this client and server architecture, right? So for various reasons, I think like for performance reasons and for some other reasons like YANG validation, right? So therefore, I'm just thinking maybe we should consider and build a build the right architecture for this one. So it's maybe in the future, hey, now we have this CLI wrapper to do the to do these things. But later, if we want to add the YANG validation, how can we do that? I guess that's a question, because we don't want to say, okay, in the future we will have YANG validation on CLI part, then we do another design.
So basically, this architecture supports something like a batch processing, and it doesn't support my interactiveness of the command line features, right? So maybe the first step is to incorporate or at least modify the design to incorporate the interactiveness of the command lines. That should be first step, right? Or is it just out of the scope of this design at all?
I think it is in the scope. I think you captured all the comments. I mean that's something we need to get a clarity on that.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean the second part, like Sudarshan mentioned, whether you're going to leverage and see. I mean, so we need to see what how we can accommodate that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
yeah.
that YANG based CLI verification is possible at all in this design, because
that's what I mean. The CLI worker is I don't know. First of all, I joined late. I don't know why we need to spawn process for each and every command. Is that something you can't do it in the server itself? Do you see any do we see any reason for like getting multiple requests from the client and then you don't want to hold it out in the server, rather you want to have the CLI worker running for each and every command? did you cover anything related to that? Why we choose the rationale behind having the CLI worker? Why not you can run directly in the server itself?
Okay. If we use CLI wrapper server to handle the request one by one, then it might be blocked in CLI server. So that's why we choose to spawn a CLI worker to handle each command. And then the other reason is that inside the CLI worker, we call CLI runner. Yeah, this is the actual real the executor. And this function is provided by predicate package, and it is not a thread safe function. So we decide to split that to split it to a individual process to handle that. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Justin, I think we only have 2 minutes, so I'm not sure. Do you want to quickly go through the remaining parts? I think your HRD is not that.
Oh, but I think we already talked about all cases.
Okay.
People in attending questions of those flow are just mentioned in the conversation. So I think that's okay.
Okay, so I just left the comments for this HLD template. I see you didn't apply the recommended HLD template. Maybe you can update the current version with more sections.
Okay,
Just,
no
I also
problem.
left online. Yeah.
Okay.
So by the way, what is the default status of this feature? Is it enabled by default or disabled?
Defaults, currently we the default is enable, but we can discuss, right?
Yeah, because there are things that are not supported. There are still some limitations with this feature, right? Interactiveness and other stuffs that we still need to sort out, right? Until then, can you make it disabled by default so that the day-to-day operations are not disturbed on the main master branch if you planning to commit into the master branch?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, no problem. So I can put it on disable as a default. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. With that, I think we are running out of the time. We need a reviewer for this feature. So I see a lot of the people raise the questions during this meeting. So does anyone want to be the reviewer for this feature? Okay, so you guys can ping me offline if you want to be the reviewer for these features. We do need the reviewers, before we can merge this code. Okay, thank you, Kat.
Sounds good.
I
Thank
see one
you.
Kat reply. Okay, thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.